Okay, welcome everybody to Tucson Real Producers' first virtual mastermind. We are so excited and honored to be able to bring our realtor community together to bring inspiration and share some ideas. We have a super talented panel today who are willing to bring value in an effort to build the whole real estate community. So all of these agents have stellar reputations and they are known for their leadership in their field. So let me introduce them. First, we have Aaron Wilson. He's the team leader of Team Integrity of Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. He devoted 20 years to the United States Air Force as a part of the search and rescue community. And he has spent the vast majority of his career forming and building teams. He has teams in 8 other cities. He closed 499 units last year for $119 million in volume. And he's also in the top 100 in Keller Williams for the whole United States. He is definitely an expert at finding solutions and making a way in unprecedented times like these. So thanks so much, Aaron, for stepping in. We really appreciate you. Then we have Louis Parrish. He is the designated broker and owner of United Real Estate Southern Arizona. Louis is known for his leadership and coaching and his character. Sorry, my camera went away. Being in business 25 years, Louis has navigated shifting markets before and found a way to come out on top. He is growth-minded, and he and his team are creatively working this market, and he knows being proactive is a must. So thanks, Louis, so much for being a part of our panel.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored.
Sorry, I'm trying to get you back. There you are. Then we have Candy Bowen. She's with Realty Executives Arizona Territory, who in just over 3 years grew her business to $25 million in volume with 120 transactions closed in 2019. Candy won Rookie of the Year in 2017, and she now has a team of 5 agents. She sits on the board of both the TAR and the Green Valley Sarita Associations. She's the co-chair of the Young Professionals, YPN, and she's active in Women's Council. Candy is energetic, she's persistent, and she's ready to tackle this market, and I'm excited to hear how. Welcome also Frank Torres with HomeSmart Advantage Group. He is the CEO and the team leader of the Torres Real Estate Team. Frank is a native Tucsonan and has been practicing real estate for nearly 17 years. Though most of those years were spent working a dual career, he has gained the knowledge to successfully act as a mentor and a coach. Frank has insight we're excited to share. And then we have Pete Peterson, the CEO partner of the Stratton Group of Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Pete's expertise is in sales and leadership. He has the skill and the systems in place to provide agents with the ability to succeed at a high level. He's innovative and passionate about teaching, and we're honored to have him on our panel today. Thanks, Pete, for joining us.
You bet.
So lastly, we're thrilled to have Chase Delperdang, a 3rd-generation agent and the Director of Growth for Team Integrity, moderating today. For 15 years, Chase has been a pastor and a speaker, and I know you're going to do an awesome job, Chase. Thanks.
No problem.
So last but not least, a huge shout out to Jenny Adams, who's in the background, making sure all the technical pieces run as smooth as possible. Thanks, Jenny, for all your help.
Sorry for making
Chase, let's
really
get started.
All right. Let's have some fun, guys. All right. First question is this. We are about 2 months into a shift in our market and world in general. What is one thing that you have shifted in either your culture, your production, or your profit and loss statement, the expense side of your business? What's one thing that you've shifted recently in your business? Either be it culture, production, or in your P&L. Who wants to start that one off?
I can do that one.
Let's go.
All right. All right, we dove deep initially once this started, and once we got the call to basically kind of go on lockdown, it was kind of the real kind of wake up call for everybody. We initially just went straight into our finances. We went straight to the P&L, and we started hitting expenses. So I know in any shift, I've been through a shift before, 2 other shifts prior, nothing like this one. However, we dove deep into that, started cutting expenses right away. Fixed rate expenses, variable expenses, started looking at both of those. Which ones do we need? Which ones we don't need? So that's literally where we went. Then we had to notch up on the other side, our accountability with agents.
I can go second.
Candy, go for it.
Okay, so the main thing that I've implemented, and something that I've been doing for years, is doing virtual showings and things like that, because I have a lot of out-of-state clients being in Green Valley and having a lot of the retirement community come here. So I started immediately doing virtual tours, offering virtual tours to other agents on my own listings so that they didn't have to feel like they could miss out on a showing. So I would literally go in on Facebook Messenger with the other agent and the buyer and walk through my own listings with them. And I've sold probably 12 deals off of just virtual showings since this thing started. So that is the main thing I've been doing. And also I really dug deep, same as you, Aaron, with finances and what can I cut? What do I really need? What don't I need? And then the other thing is just I've been doubling down on any of this free education and even like low cost education that they're offering. And that's really helped me get little tidbits from all over the country, from like New York to California. I'm picking up little tidbits of how I can better service my clients.
Great.
I went for a walk.
And how long was that walk?
It started off being a 4-mile run, and I ended up having shin splints halfway through this run, right? So I'm at River and First Avenue, and it's hurting so bad I can't run. And so it was right when the whole thing started spinning mid-March, right? And so the first thing I did is I was just kind of listening to the news, and I opened up my what do you call it, your iBooks, or you listen to it. And went through, there's a book written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. It's called Shift. And it's a book about how to go through a shift and 12 tactical things that you can do in your business to do that. And that Sunday, I actually ended up walking back to my house, and I ended up doing a loop around my place a couple times, actually, just so I could get through the information. I was taking notes on my phone as I was listening to this, and kind of like Aaron, the next morning, called the gals, and we got into our expenses, and we just made a goal to cut 30% of our expense, our overhead, and draw it down by 30% and get in the front side of that, because there's lag time in billings and such with your reoccurring costs. Shutting off credit cards so they can't be charged. Shut off a credit card, reactivate it. Same thing with our debit cards. And so we could stop those and have a conversation with those vendors and renegotiate. Going back to our vendors and having conversations and saying, hey, this is where we're at. We'd like to keep your services. Is there something you can do to help us out? Is there something you're willing to do to do that? And so just holding our money accountable, but diving deep into understanding that shifts have happened before and people have gone through those, and learning from both their wins and their losses. So that was us.
Hey, Pete, can you give an example of some of the stuff that you cut or renegotiated?
Yeah, everything. Everything from your copiers, your rent with your landlords, having conversations about that. Going back to your contact management systems, if you're paying for portals and access, going back and having a conversation with them. They don't want to lose the business, and they're very aware of what's going on. And wanting to be a good partner with you and keep your business gives you an opportunity to have those conversations. So we literally called every reoccurring vendor that we had and say, hey, is this something you're willing to do or not? And we were just adamant about driving down to that 30% mark.
That conversation of 50% of something is better than 0%.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Verizon Wireless, the whole 9 yards, so it's just Comcast. They weren't real excited about that. They were not excited. So,
yep. But
if anybody figures out a way to do that, that'd be great.
There you go. Frank,
for me, I'm just going to piggyback on all those ideas, and I'm just starting a team, so I'm at the early stages, and what I was doing this year was going to commit to some office space, and I've kind of had to put that on hold, cutting expenses, and then of course just maintaining the focus and the ability to use the things that are no charge to us, like maintaining a social media presence to all the people who are following. Right now, more people are online than ever. So even if they pay attention before, they're doing it now because they're at home, they have more time. So I'm taking advantage of those opportunities to advertise what I do and celebrating sales. And of course, with my other agent as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Louis, what about you? You're in a little bit different scenario where you've got the entire brokerage, right? So a different set of experience.
I wear two hats, right? So I work with the Excelsior Associates in a team atmosphere, and also operate the brokerage. But since the last Great Recession, it has been a discipline to run really lean and mean. So my first knee-jerk reaction was like several of the rest of you. A lot of us come from the same school of thought. So let's see if we can drop our expenses by 20%. Truth is, we're too lean to drop at 20%. So the next move is work twice as hard or twice as smart. And, whether it's the team or leading our agents in the company, it's time to get it into overdrive. Do your lead gen. And I'm sure we'll talk about how we need to do that differently, maybe later in this mastermind. But our focus has been 100% on growth. Like this is ugly. This is going to hurt. Let's be honest about it. But it's also an opportunity, because with every change, there is an opportunity to adapt quicker, do new things, do things better. And I know that on the back end of this change is going to come greater market share for each agent who has the mindset where I'm going to go get some right now.
Yep. Great.
Louis, to piggyback off something you said about going through the recession and the shift before, what's one thing that you would say is different now between 12 years ago?
Well, I think that the fundamentals of the real estate market right now are very strong.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't have a crystal ball, boy. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow, much less at the end of the year or next year. But our fundamentals of the real estate market are so strong, with folks in high equity positions. We have low inventory. We've had stable appreciation and growth and responsible lending for over 10 years. So I think that this recession is not going to be heavily participated in by the real estate industry.
Yep.
in that area.
One of the quotes that we heard recently in an article was that the last recession we kind of caused. This one we're a bystander to.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. It's going to hurt.
Yep.
Let's go get it.
Absolutely. Here's the next one. What steps are you taking to protect your mindset and emotional health through this? For those on the DISC profile that are SCs, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. You get to stay home and have an excuse. Those that are Ds and Is in the DISC profile are losing their ever-loving minds. And so I just knowing some of you, we're all over the board there. What are you doing to protect your mindset in a time like this, or your people's mindset?
So I can cover this, because I really am big into like exercising and getting out there, getting outside, seeing sunshine, running, just doing little things. Even if you just go for a walk, just getting out of the house is nice. And I've been connecting with my, to add that to something I've been doing with business, I've been connecting with my past clients and my, circle of influence, and just not sales. How are you doing? How are you holding up?
Yeah.
How is everything going? And I think that's huge, because it's really personal, and we care about these people. We've got them into a house, and we want to make sure that everybody's doing okay. So I think that is just keeping your, being honest and being genuine in your heart. And that's one of the things that is easy for me. We've been doing a lot of video meetings with clients, because who doesn't want to see somebody's face, right? Like, we can't see people in person. So why don't we just hop on the Zoom or Facebook Messenger, or even on your phone if you have video capability? I've been jumping on video all the time. So really been helping my mindset a lot.
And that goes a long way, Candy. Pete had mentioned Gary Keller. Gary Keller says it's disingenuous to show up in people's lives only when they're looking to buy or sell real estate.
Right on.
Yeah. I know for us, we've gone to, kind of like Aaron, we've got expansion partners in different cities, so we were kind of used to the Zoom thing before the whole lockdown thing happened. And one of the things we had done, we do a team huddle every morning at 9:15, which we've done for a year. And we've changed that from just having conversations about numbers to gratitude and calling it a gratitude huddle. And so we start off with, what are you thankful for? What's a blessing in your life? What's just a good thing that's happened, whether it's personally or professionally? And then we take a look at the numbers and making sure, kind of like Lewis's, comment, we're doubling down. The activity that was okay, in January and February to get you to your goals by the end of the year, it's going to require a lot more time and effort. So if that goal is really important to you, we got to take a look at those numbers on a daily basis and make sure that we're on track for them. But the gratitude piece has been huge, connecting with people outside of the transactional real estate.
That gratitude thing is the magic, isn't it, Pete?
Oh my God, it's amazing. I know you guys do something along that lines too.
I think it's an everyday thing. You really have to be more purposeful with your mindset, because that's truly the foundation for everything that you do, especially your attitude. And I can tell you that in this past month, I've been hiking more times than I did the entire year last year. And what I'm trying to do is connect with some of those people who are, wanting to have more conversation about how everything is affecting my life, as and vice versa. And having those real personal conversations for me is extremely helpful, just to know how everybody's being affected.
Yep. Absolutely. What do you guys do, Lewis, as far as the gratitude side?
Mine is personal, right? So I start my day with gratitude. And I encourage and lead our agents to do the same. The mindset thing, I think, is number one in times like this. So I spend a lot more energy as a leader in encouraging healthy thinking. Personally, I start with gratitude, and I'm normally a pretty structured person. I'm a very purposeful person. I work by a schedule. I like to be on time, and there's that discipline. But I've taken the opportunity to even become more structured in my daily life. Working from home or working from the office, it's the same to me. My office is my home. But for those weeks that we spent in the house, it got a little weird for a couple of weeks. We've got teenagers in the house, and they're not sure what to do with their schedule. And, we started getting up early and going for a walk together. And then, add things in. Now we're going to read. Now we're going to get ready and go to work and follow that schedule. But there have been many, many days where we've started at 7 and finished at 9.
Yep.
14 hours.
There's
7 days a week.
For the first couple of weeks, right? It was kind of this, we don't know what it's going to look like in the future. There's no way this could last much longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it became evident in the beginning of April that this was the new norm for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
So anything else on that?
Ours were just pretty much the same with what you guys have there. Exercise, habits, and also routine. Making sure that your environment was set, isolating yourself in a different location in the house, or making sure you're in an office or whatever, but making sure that you have some sort of structure around you to succeed.
And that was actually on a webinar that we were all on earlier. It's different this time because it isn't an economic crisis, right? It's a health issue, right? And so the kids are all home. So not only do you have to manage your business, but now you get to also be a teacher. And if you've got a couple kids, now you've got, you're managing different roles at home and trying to still ramp up the volume to hit, because it's going to require more. So the structure, like Lewis and Aaron are talking about, that's just everything right now. Figuring out, how do I become a mom or a dad and a teacher and a business person? And, so getting that space, huge.
And I'll jump on that too, because I have 2 little kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they're home all of a sudden. So it's definitely the double down on everything. Like the initial shock to me was a fight or flight. It was like, oh my gosh, this is how I make money for my family. What am I going to do to make sure I can make money in June, July, August? What are the things right now that I can do? And I decided that those things where I could educate myself as much as possible, I can take time to be with my family, make a more strict schedule, turn the phone off at 7 o'clock at night instead of keep answering it, and just, doing things that I should have been doing all along with my back end, creating my CRM, creating different things that are going to build my business in the future, because we all know it's going to end. We don't know when, but I want to be not starting from 0 when it doesn't. I want to actually be starting from a little momentum still, because if we're just stopping, it's going to be really hard to get started to get when it's all done.
Absolutely.
So can I add one thing on to that?
Absolutely.
Because there's a common theme here. And, you know, one of the joys of raising up leaders around you is that you start to hear things from a different perspective. And one of our leaders, Gwen Thompson, is putting together a class next week. And we were kind of just, you know, going over the content, and it's her first one. And I know she's going to do a great job. But her passion is this. So many of us as realtors, we think of, this is my real estate business life, and this is my personal life. And more so than any other business that I am aware of, being a small business owner in the real estate industry, our personal lives and our business lives are intertwined. So you've got to create the same consistency in your personal life that you expect out of your business life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like, I know you guys know that. I know you all well enough to know that you're disciplined, driven people, and you have that consistency in your life. But for the 100 agents that are listening in, some of them may still be trying to learn that it isn't a job and a life. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and I think there's so much wisdom in that too. You know, and if you're a single agent and you know you're not part of a team where they do gratitude huddles and those kind of things, you know, solidarity. I mean, get with other single agents. Find 5 or 6 people that you can connect with, and you make that commitment. Hey, we're going to hold each other up, start our days off right. You know, we'll start off and you create that. You artificially create that environment, and that's kind of like, you know, creating that space that Aaron's talking about. You can do that because they're the people that are walking the same walk that you're walking. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I'll jump off what Lewis said. So I know a few of us here are veterans, and we have had that combination of life and work just as one, because in the military, you're not just in the military and then go home. You're always in the military, just like when you're a realtor. So I do think that if you get that discipline to realize you're cutting your phone off at a certain time, and you can set expectations with your clients, you can really meld that just fine, but still have that time with your family, that you're not just working yourself to death every single day.
Right.
Yeah. Creating healthy boundaries.
Well said.
Yep. Next one is this. How are you partnering with affiliates or vendors or just general community members during this time? We all have title folks, home warranty, lenders, people that are our people. How are you connecting with them, maybe in a different way or more intentional during this shifting time, where you may not be in the office every day to see them, or they may not be?
I feel like there has to be a lot more communication than before, because we all have a different way of doing business now. Their expectations are different. Let's use the title company, for example. Since I'm no longer able to attend, how is it that I can be there to answer questions? Is there going to be somebody there to put me on speakerphone? Can my client do that? Even having documents there sooner. So all those things are important in everything we do. And then also with the people we interact with on a physical basis, like our home inspectors and other things. I want to find out what they're going to be doing to protect my clients so that I can be doing the same and we're on the same page.
Absolutely.
And to bounce off that, like getting those title documents early and being able to have a Zoom meeting with your client where you can share your screen and actually go over the settlement statement. These are all things that are kind of neat and we can implement prior so that the closing appointments go quicker and things like that. I just heard today that the remote online notary has been approved in Pima County recently. So that's something that, you know, might benefit our clients. So I've been calling the title companies, finding out which ones are doing it, and just having open communications. Like Frank was saying, it's huge to have open communications right now with everybody, because we're very apart, but we're still working together on all of these transactions.
Yep.
I've got 2 interesting examples I'd like to throw in.
Absolutely.
So I want to give kudos to our title partners. As soon as we were locked down, you know, remember when everybody's like, well, how are we going to get our checks? And we can't go to the title company because it's not healthy and it's not safe. Maybe their doors are locked and maybe they're not. We're trying to figure this out. And over that first weekend, I got on the phone with all of our title partners, and they agreed to send our agents their commission by wire. It was awesome. Everybody got together. It wasn't easy. It was messy. We couldn't get the instructions right. It didn't go off perfectly, but the effort was made, and it did work. And so I'm super grateful for that. I'm so impressed with their willingness to do that. But then I want to call out an example of what one of our agents is doing. Patrick Chamberlain might be on this call, but I can't tell because there's about 100 of you out there. Patrick went out and started doing marketing videos for small businesses.
Yeah.
He's actually promoting other people's businesses through his talents as a social media video marketer. And it's been incredible to see, you know, the way that we're not talking about like vendors, like restaurants and auto brokers and you name it, he's there pitching their business. And, you know, what does he get in return? He gets referrals. It's been beautiful. He even put a thing out the other day. It was a really cool video. Maybe you guys saw it. I know that it went fairly viral. It was on the 8th day God made small business owners. And he went around and featured a bunch. It was just really awesome. Classy. You know, it's different. You make an adjustment.
Truly coming from contribution.
Yeah, huge.
We've stepped up our mailing, by the way. We partnered with one of our title companies, wholesale mailing house. People are at home. We think they're reading their mail. So that's something that.
The third time today that I think we've heard that too.
Yeah.
We've heard that from other
But don't
agents.
tell any more people, just these 100.
Yeah, our vendors, you know, just like anybody else, you know, they're just like a team member, you know, so wellness checks, calling in, figure out how their industry's changing, what's, you know, what's on the forefront. And that way we can kind of relay that information down to the agents as well. So therefore, because right now information changes, it's extremely fast, and we've got to be on point with that.
Got to remain fluid with everything right now, right, Aaron? Like,
I mean, by the time I get out of here, I'm sure there's about 15 different things that have changed as well. So we got to get caught up.
absolutely.
I think that kind of goes back to what Chase, kind of what you were talking about at the beginning. Like, what was the first thing you did? The first thing I thought of, you know, the 08, you know, shift looked a lot different for me in my business. You know, we had a lot of investment properties back at that time. And I was pretty resolute that I was going to keep doing business the way that I've been doing business. And then I would outlast the shift. Right. And because of the shadow inventory and the amount of houses that were out, and we do commercial as well. You know, we have property management, commercial, and the residential. We had something very similar at that time. And I made the commitment in my life that I would never move slow again. You know, you can't make a business decision. You look at it, and don't take advice from somebody who's never done something. I saw a quote from Warren Buffett the other day. You know, don't ever take advice from somebody who's done nothing. Right? Yeah. Find somebody, a prophet. You know, somebody that's very wise in a space that's gone through that before you, and lean on them and get their perspective about it, and then make a decision and do it quick. And I think that was one of the big lessons I learned from 08 was just, I didn't move nearly as quickly as I could have.
You know what? I'm going to piggyback on that. That reminded me of this morning, there was a call with Gary Keller, and I know you were on that call as well. And he had mentioned, be careful who you follow in times of crisis. Some have never been through these, and they're only rookies. So it's an experiment to them for whatever advice that they have. So
yeah, that stuck with me too. You know, you'll see somebody having success in a moment, right? And it's a moment in time. And, you know, they're having some success with it, but follow proven models. Follow somebody who's been in the business for 20 years and, you know, have gotten a few licks along the way. You know, that's where success comes from, is from making mistakes and stacking those. And so just be really cautious about the advice that comes out right now around, you know, the shift and the crisis and what to do with your business, for sure.
And I can piggyback off that as, you know, I'm newer. I haven't been through a shift, right? So I've been following all the people like you guys, right? And implementing things, because I think that makes a smart agent. If you're not able to see that you don't know everything and you've not been there, done that, then you just follow the people around you. And that's what I've done. That's how I've become so successful so quickly, is I'm not reinventing the wheel every day. I'm taking little tidbits from here and from there, and I'm adding it to my business to make myself the expert, but still realizing that there's other people that I can follow and get really good information from, especially right now, because everybody's putting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you find that like-minded group of people, Candy, like everybody that's on here, there's not that scarcity mindset. There's enough real estate to go around for us.
Yep, absolutely.
bettering each other only betters the industry.
Exactly.
Pete and I were having this conversation the other day. We were sitting there going, hey, when was the last time we've done a deal, the two of our teams together? And we're sitting there, I'm scratching my head and go, dude, I'm sorry, but I don't remember any deal.
When was the last time we went up against each other on a listing appointment? There's so much business out there. There's such a scarcity mindset. I'm just like, yeah. And by the way, Louis, I was actually just peeking in your drawer just to get rip off and duplicate. Thanks for that. I appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah, no, right on. It took me 13 years to learn like Candy did.
Yeah.
I kept trying to do my own thing for 13 years. And finally I was like, oh man, what did it was 2008.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this hurts, man. I need to go listen to somebody.
Right.
Yep.
And it works.
Yeah.
Let's move on to this next one. What opportunities have presented themselves in this shift? What type of opportunity within your business or within your team or within you personally has presented itself during this time?
I think the opportunity to work virtually and have a gigantic reach of if not 10 people that come to an open house, but 1,000 people that are watching your videos online. Also the opportunity that, some of these iBuyers, and I can't say the names but they're all backing out. So investment opportunities, if you are reaching out to your investors, reaching out to out-of-state investors, just saying look, what can I do with boots on the ground here to help you help these clients who thought they were under contract and now they're not under contract. So that's been a gigantic market right now for people who can take the opportunity and put the boots on the ground and want to do the time to research these kind of things and put out the advertisements. So those are two little tidbits that there's tons of those out there right now,
I think it's, to be quite honest with you, I think it exposed our business to the point to where we know exactly what we need to do and what we don't need to do right now. And that's a real good thing.
I see two things working to all of our mutual advantages. One is that people are starving for attention right now. They want you to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
They can't wait for you to call. I mean, they don't necessarily wait, but they are very glad for you to text, call, email, whatever. And the second thing is they're starving for information that they can trust.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, we're trustworthy.
Yep. And good
So
news too, right? Yeah. Don't you think posting about, hey, I got this under contract, I've done this, I've done that. All people are hearing is kind of fear mongering right now. So if you're out there just saying what you're doing and being like, hey, it's really not that scary right now. Yeah, it's a shift. But when you're out there, like Louis just said, people, you should see my messenger inbox. It's crazy. People just want to talk to me about, oh man, how's this going? How's that going? So it's you're right. People are wanting the social interaction. If you're out there posting things, they're going to reach out to you.
Yeah, they're really leaning on us to be the resource right now. They want to consult with you on what their next move should be if they're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. They want you to really give them the information they're craving and desiring, because there's so much negativity around us. They just want to hear from somebody that's in the business and doing it every day and is successful at it.
I know for us, it's, the language of real estate is numbers, from a productivity standpoint, so when you look at this, I think, to kind of Aaron's point, the numbers we should have known in the best real estate market in the history of humankind is gone. And knowing what our numbers need to be now, and not only for performance, which we definitely have, I think that exposed us. You can be good at it in a great market, but you're gonna have to be great at it in a shifting market. And if you wanna come through this, if you wanna survive the shift and then come out the other side and maximize the opportunities, you have to know your numbers. You gotta know how many calls you need to make, how many appointments you need to have, how many appointments gone on, how many appointments set leads to how many closings, right? And I mean, you just gotta know those numbers. And to our clients' perspective, how are we the economist of choice? Do we really know what the average sales price, the median sales price, how many houses went on market, how many went contingent, how many had price adjustments in the last 7 days? It's a shifting market, right? And that's the information that our clients are looking for from us. And so we could get away with it and not do that 8-10 months ago. Not so much right now.
Anything else on that one? Opportunities present itself. All right, let's move into this next one. Delilah put this all together with y'all because of your track record, right? Track record of success and being selfless as well. There's a lot of people I think that could benefit from this next question. If you were new into the industry, if you had just got your real estate license, or you were starting a team again, wherever you're at, what would you do or focus on right now? Lewis, you said that it took you 13 years to get to Candy's 3. What would you tell people listening right now that you wish you would have known, or that could save them a bunch of time and heartache in the future?
So Pete alluded to some of this. He's never going to move slow again. And getting a business off the ground requires mass, rapid movement. And especially in the arena of making contact with people. Authentic, meaningful, I'm going to even say loving contact. You got to reach out to people and find out what they're up to, where they're going, and what they need, and find a way, even if it doesn't have to do with real estate, find a way to be a helper on their journey. As many as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And watch your numbers, right, Pete?
Oh my gosh. All right. Know them.
Track everything.
That's it.
I love that, Lewis.
Yep.
What else? I told you got to surround yourself with the right people, obviously. Know who those
man.
people are and what they're.
That's the real right answer.
And
that's the real right answer right there, Aaron.
And that's what, being very fortunate, I'll go back, 8-9 years ago when we did a road trip,
Yep.
You're not surrounding yourself with the right people is what it all boiled down to, and I know that that's just the secret to success. The secret is there is no secret.
Right.
Being disciplined with it, holding yourself accountable. And if you can't hold yourself accountable, you better find somebody that can and take that accountability. Keep it simple and don't get complacent.
And my simple answer is, the foundation of any business is being able to structure your day and your week and knowing what you're going to do every single day to gain more business and work your transactions and do your follow-up. If you don't make time for any of those things, you're conditioning yourself for failure.
You're right. Life is going to fill in those gaps.
Frank, what was, you had a very successful career in the healthcare industry, in training and coaching in there. And you've been doing real estate parallel with that for several years. What was your big decision to go full time, and what has transpired as a result?
Well, my decision to go full time was, kind of just being tired of working in an industry where you were just a number, right? I worked for very large corporations, and I did that for years, and there was a lot of loyalty on my side. And when I needed something, and even if it was tools to be more successful at my job, it wasn't given to me. And I knew that I was succeeding in another area where I was more in control of how I ran my business every single day and how I treated people, and of course that what I got in return. So I needed to change some of the way I was doing business because I wasn't structuring my day. I didn't know anything really about lead generation and how important that was, and staying connected with your clients. So I needed to be around people and surround myself with a company that could maybe help me gain those tools, so that I could be more successful in real estate, and then of course just let go of all of the things that I thought were super important to me on the corporate side. And it just came to it started with a mindset. I got fed up one day and I said, you know what? I'm no longer going to be hostage to this situation because I have choices. And I made the choice to move on, and it's been the best decision, I could have ever made, because my entire life has changed. I have this huge weight lifted off of me, and I'm now able to implement my own ideas. And of course, I'm grateful for everything that I learned in that career, because those were the opportunities that I had to be in leadership and to coach other people. And that's super important in real estate, as all of you know. But in it, I don't take anything back. I'm glad that I did them both. I just wish I would have done it sooner.
Yep. That's awesome. Candy, you have got on here the shortest tenure so far. I mean, Pete sold the very first house built in Arizona.
Wow.
And
It was Lewis. Hey, it was Lewis's listing, by the way.
So some of those maybe scars are a little more fresh of stuff you would have done differently or focused on more. What advice would you give to somebody that maybe is 6 months, 8 months in?
Okay, so yeah, I give trainings for this all the time because obviously my first year was ridiculous. I did 50 deals my first year, almost 10 million in my first year. So that's kind of insane. So people always ask me that question. And I have 3 things that I say every time. The first one is that you need to establish a follow-up game. When you're brand new and you only have a few clients going, you need to be on top of them and be like, hey, what do you need? Hey, what do you need? Look, I was looking on the MLS and I saw this house that I thought would be perfect for you. So if you have the time to go ahead and provide that service, that's what you're offering to your clients. Look, I don't have a lot of clients, so you're my number one. So establish that, work on your follow-up, work on a game, write everything down that you do. If you do something more than once, you need to have a template and a checklist for that. So that's huge. Mindset is very big in this business, and it's something that it can be taught, but you need to have a little bit of it in you in the first place. Work like an employee, even though you're your own boss. Would you fire yourself? Would you fire yourself? You have to think about that. Literally, like if you're not up working at least 8 hours a day, you would probably fire yourself. So if you would fire yourself, you need to make some adjustments, write that down, figure out what you would do differently in order to be the star employee in your own business, because that's what you should be.
Candy, I think you just showed up every other guy on this call with that statement. Would you fire yourself?
That was worth the price of admission right there.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Right. And then the third thing that I have established from the get-go, everybody, I don't know if you all know, but most people know that I started off as transaction coordinator for like 3 months, right? So I got to see 200 deals a month for those 3 months, and I was like, holy moly. Calm yourself. But yeah, so I established systems because I knew that I was going to be good at this. I knew I was good at transaction coordinating. I knew I'm good with people. I'm good with relating to people and things like that. So establishing your systems and knowing where you want to grow to. So I want to grow huge. So my systems are such that I have a system for my transaction coordinator, my buyer's agent, and eventually my listing agent once I get to that point. So if you're establishing your business while you're a little bit slower, it's going to be a lot easier to grow in the long run. So that's my advice.
Awesome. We want to give some time for some questions and answers. So those that are attendees right now, in the bottom of the screen, there's a Q&A button. Go ahead and type that in, and we are going to do one more question we're not going to get to all of them. Pop those in there, and while they answer one more question. We are more reliant upon technology than ever right now. What is 1 or 2 technology pieces that you could not live without in your business right now?
The phone and Zoom.
Phone and Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Social media. It's just blowing my business up right now.
What is your primary social media platform?
So I don't choose them as primary. I choose them as different markets. So Facebook, I would call it my older demographic. My, my agent.
Lewis just got super offended.
I am a demographic for Facebook. For Instagram, we're looking at our younger millennials, first-time homebuyers and stuff like that. So I actually kind of structure my posts based on where I'm posting to and who I'm looking for. So Instagram, Snapchat, obviously way younger, way funner, a lot sillier. Facebook's more professional, but like also showing a little bit of personality. So instead of having a primary, I just have a primary market for each social media.
That's great.
Same.
Awesome.
We've gotten to the point where we've got a fairly large team, and we've got multiple pieces to that. And one of the things that we've done is we've gamified everything. So we use a system called SISU, SISU. There's several different resources out there. Commitment to Excellence. If you're a small team or an individual agent, you Google Commitment to Excellence. The gentleman that created that software, it's an Excel-based program, but it'll track your numbers and it's very low cost. But we've created games, and we're in a world of we're all competitive. We all know each other's numbers and our sales volumes and what we're doing. We text each other and early in the morning when the numbers come out about where we stand as far as sales volume. We're built to play a game, and as soon as you start keeping score and that somebody's paying it, watch kids on a playground, right? At recess, they're just throwing the ball up and they don't care and they're running around like a bunch of chickens. As soon as you put a scoreboard and a clock and $15 on the hook, everybody plays, performance changes, right?
Yep.
And so we've just used that to create a good culture of fun inside of our business and gamify it. That's been huge for us. The other thing that we've done is we bought a Matterport camera, a virtual camera. So all of our listings, and we're actually going to make that a resource to local agents here in Tucson that can't afford the camera. We're actually going to figure out something that will allow other agents to use some of that technology to help them with their listings.
Awesome.
But understanding that we're a digital world overnight. And that was on the call earlier today. We're a digital world physically enhanced. Yeah. And so some of those tools and having access to it is going to be huge for agents in helping them grow their business.
Aaron, what is yours? You're the last one.
We have, I agree with what Pete says there. You can relate it to a game, just like, we've always talked about, nobody wants to score a touchdown in an empty stadium.
Amen.
Ever. And if you're going to bowl, like I'm not a big bowler, but if I'm going to bowl, there better be a scoreboard. That's what I'll play.
You're not a bowler.
Yeah, 100% not.
You're a lot of things, brother, but you ain't a bowler.
Yeah, no.
What books are you currently reading? Or give me one.
I'm going back to read Road Less Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be my third time hitting that one right now. I did finish up Shift and a couple others there, but that's one that I'm really hitting home on right now.
And I'm going back to reading The One Thing because I think it's appropriate for this time that we're in right now. There's a plug for y'all.
Yeah, it's huge. If you've never read the 4 Disciplines of Execution by Sean Covey, that's Stephen Covey's oldest son, wrote that book. It really has to do with the gamification of your business, like we were just talking about. Cadence of accountability, keeping a scoreboard, lead indicators, focusing on lead indicators instead of sales and lag indicators. And then The Road Less Stupid and The Keys to the Kingdom. Those will be the 2 that Keith Cunningham is the author of those 2 books. So actually, that's downloaded that this morning.
I'm reading Unshakable by Tony Robbins right now.
Awesome.
Kind of mindset strengthening.
I'm reading The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek.
It's a great one.
And I really like it.
Awesome.
It's a different kind of thinking, not to say that, if I give you a quick synopsis, it might sound like it disagrees with gamifying your numbers. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not playing a win-lose game.
Right. It's a forever game.
We're playing a long game
Mm-hmm.
for the next generation. So when we're planning our businesses and making decisions about our family, or it isn't about how many houses can we sell this month. Are you tracking it? Absolutely. Do you have $15 on the hook on that? Yeah, absolutely, because it makes it fun.
Right.
But the win-lose is in the survival. I'm going to survive this. Pass it on, whatever that just cause is. I like it a lot.
I agree with you, Lewis, on the long game. I've said that from the get-go. When I started my long 3 years ago, I had a long game of selling one house in 6 months. And then that's changed now to, okay, this is what we're doing to support my family now. So what's my long game for 5, 10, 20 years down the road? Am I going to be hustling like this 10 hours a day for the rest of my life? Or am I going to start implementing a team? And that's how I started growing the team, is like, let me train them to what I've done. It's a very much long game. And I do think that if you have that mindset and you're not coming from a place of desperation and you're coming from a place of planning, then that's going to be a lot easier and your clients are going to appreciate them a lot.
Yep. regards to the long game, we heard this from Ben Kinney, was you find someone that's just the next level above you and learn from them. If you're doing 50 transactions and you're trying to learn from the guy doing 3,000, it's a completely different set of systems.
Right.
So
I think, Aaron, you and I had that conversation a little bit ago about, the first time you sold 100 homes, and now it's like, how many, hundreds of homes are you selling and millions are you selling? And that was very powerful to me.
Yeah, there was an agent on that talking about that, and he was like, nowadays if you sell 100 homes, it's like, oh, you'll get there one day. Don't worry about it. It's like, oh my goodness, that used to be a benchmark, So.
Yep. Knowing you all, this is your bread and butter. To start time blocking your schedule, what are your tips for starting to be successful at it?
Just do it.
Get an effective calendar, like whether you like to write things down or you like electronic. I love Google Calendar. I love to use colors just to kind of dictate where my time is being allotted. But make it fun for yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to want to do it. And it takes conditioning, and that happens over time.
To Frank's point, read the book, The One Thing. Before you start time blocking, you have to understand that not all things are equal, and all activities are not equal. 20% of the things that you do are going to give you 80% of your revenue in your business. And so before you start calendaring things out, making sure that you really understand that you got to put 20% activities first, and you need to know what those are.
Right.
Yep. Not everybody deserves equal amount of time with you.
That's right.
Explain that a little bit more, Aaron.
Oh goodness, 80-20 rule applies there. So those individuals that are actually doing 80% or 20%, doing 80% of the work there actually deserve more attention than the others that are not. We all love each other, obviously. However, you got to devote the time and attention to those that are doing the right things.
It's an investment mentality, right?
Yeah.
You have limited resources. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So you have to make sure that every hour that you invest is getting the greatest return.
Mm-hmm.
Those hours.
One thing I would encourage those who are about to time block to do, in addition to these other amazing and legitimate things, you got to know your why. You got to know what the one thing is, and you got to make an appointment with yourself to actually start time blocking. That's the first thing, right, Frank? Make an appointment with yourself, but when you do your calendar, schedule your free time. Schedule when you're going to take a vacation. Schedule when you're not going to be working. You can change that later, but that will free you up from the fear that you're never going to have a balanced life.
Yeah.
Schedule that first.
Would you guys agree? Because at the beginning, you're going to be putting a lot of time in, right? That's just how we start our businesses. We have to really work hard. But as it goes on and you set those boundaries and things, and you have that established pipeline and those referrals coming in, you're going to work less. So if you're brand new on here and you're just getting into the realtor game, yeah, it's going to seem like you're working all the time. But eventually, you're going to get to the point where you can actually set some boundaries. So would you guys agree with that? That at the beginning,
Absolutely.
you're a lot more.
I look at it as setting an agenda, and I agree with you, Lou, 100%. You got to take time for yourself, meaning time block a certain section of time to reflect back. So I'll look back at last week and figure out, what did I do last week in 5 different areas of my life: financial, health, spiritual, family time, etc. How was my time allotted? What did my schedule look like last week? And then I've got an open playbook. Which is my schedule, to where I can plug things in next week and kind of plan out my life for next week. If I don't do that, life is just going to take its course, and it's going to deal out all the cards to me that I don't want. My choice to go ahead and hand select the cards that I want to hold, the hand I want to hold, which is my life. So it's an agenda first, and the agenda turns into a schedule, and all you got to do is go by your schedule. That's my advice.
I have 6 appointments today. Awesome, right?
Thank you for being on this one.
I set no appointments for yesterday as a day to kind of like slack time, catch up with all the stuff. Yesterday was an absolute disaster. It was a disaster. Yeah, that's how my calendar looks.
My schedule.
Yesterday was a disaster because I didn't plan it out. I let it happen to me. Mistake.
I think along with scheduling everything, literally, you have to be a little bit flexible. If you've scheduled a 2-hour block of time where you're going to be working on your computer, but then you get a call to go make some money, move around.
You know, I heard something. So, we use a couple of planning tools, but, if you're just starting off, have written goals, understand what's important, and write it down. I know, yeah, there you go. Right. And when you have written goals for your year, your month, and your week, use that as a filter about when something comes. You have to learn to say no, not saying yes. You got to get great at saying no and going, okay, if I do this activity, I'm going to go have this conversation or go for lunch or whatever I'm going to do, and I'm saying yes to that, I'm saying no to the income to my family. I'm saying no to putting away money for a trip or a vacation, and use that as a filter to help you decide and say no better. It takes a little process to get good at that.
Yeah, it's okay to be selfish, to be selfless later on.
Right.
Absolutely. Delilah, I want to turn this back over to you. We've got a couple minutes left in our allotted time.
Well, what a lot of wisdom. I really appreciate you all putting this in your schedule. It shows your heart and your willingness to give back to the community, and what great leaders here in Tucson. And I really appreciate all of y'all. I wrote some notes down. I'm going to put them together and just kind of share some of the nuggets that were given today. We also taped this. I recorded it, Chase, correct?
Correct.
Yep. So if anybody wants me to send it out to them, let me know. Just text me, email me, find me on Facebook, and I'm happy to do that. But thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
Are we going to catch any of these questions in the chat?
There's a question that we met. Yeah, exactly. There's a question on there.
There is 9 in here.
How about one of us take each one of them?
I can stick around.
I can.
I actually had to leave. I'm rushing to a home inspection after this.
Thanks for being here, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Frank.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
How have each of you spoken with your buyers and sellers, and how to stay calm and on target with what's going on right now?
Okay, that's a great question. So I always come from a place of don't panic unless we have to. I haven't seen like a huge shift in price point right now, but at listing appointments, I am setting people up as like, the comps say this many days, but with the COVID, we actually have no clue. So I think setting people up with correct expectations, they appreciate that. People don't want to be lied to. They don't want to be like, yeah, the market's just fine. Everything's going like crazy. I'm like, well, I think this house should sell in a month, but it could be a little bit longer. So setting expectations up has been huge with both my buyers and my sellers. On the buyer side of things, I say it should take about 30 to 45 days to close. However, with the coronavirus and things like that, it could take a little bit longer, and setting up the expectations on both sides has been huge. And everybody's been really easygoing because it's happening to the whole world. It's not like it's a surprise that it's only happening to you. It's happening to everybody.
Awesome. Eddie Montano says, what's your biggest aha from the panel?
Mine's simple. It's exactly, there's nothing new that's here. It's getting back to the basics and doubling down hard on them. That's it.
Go ahead.
I think with everybody here, that's what we've all done, double down. Like if you see the people who are doing things, I'm doing new things. Aaron's doing new things. Lewis is doing new things. Pete's doing new things. We're all doing new things to build our business and grow in surprising ways that we're probably going to keep forever now. So I think that is, if you can look at the bright side of things and try to stay positive, realize it's not going to be forever. That's huge.
I think we can all agree with this, and hopefully this comes out the right way. There was a lot of jobs that were lost. Small businesses, small business owners, and that's a bad thing. However, when this first happened, we didn't lose our jobs.
Right.
You can choose to lose your job if you don't get up and do your job. However, that means that you have an opportunity to work, and that's what we should be doing, and we should be doing it in full force right now. Doubling down, extra hard, and you're going to get through this, no problem whatsoever. And we literally had one of our best weeks that we've ever had on record last week.
Yeah. Us too.
Same here.
Yep.
as a direct result of a little bit of fear in it,
Mhm.
because it's like the unknown. So
You
if
learn to like appreciate the fact that we're working, and some people are not working and I can still provide for my family. I appreciate that. And I'm going to work double time if I have to, triple time if I have to keep going with this business. And I think if you have that mindset and you have that heart, you can just go do anything really.
Yeah, don't you think a good motto is what you think really matters? I mean, we are leaders. We can't ignore it. And people are relying upon us to lead and help them think healthy thoughts.
Absolutely. Jay said, what do you believe will be the long-lasting effects and changes we've experienced due to COVID in the real estate world? So basically, what do you think is going to continue in real estate change-wise or impact?
I think how we do business is going to be, well, it will never go back to being the same as it was. It'll never go back to the way it was in January and February. And if that's your mindset, I think you're going to be disappointed with that. Whether that's lending, whether that's how we communicate with clients, the implementation of technology and being in a digital world, it's completely acceptable. I did 6 interviews yesterday via Zoom. I've done this for more than a year, more than 3 years, and I've never done 6 Zooms in my entire career, right? I did 60 yesterday, right? Now, the kick of it is it's incredibly efficient. I went from appointment to appointment to, I mean, it was just like, I was like, I'm not even sure I even want to go back to the office. I'm not, well, Angie, and they may not even want me to come back to the office. I don't know. This might be a good thing for everybody. But I think being realistic that, we're already in a digital world, and this is just amplified that.
Absolutely.
So when you're looking at what our business is going to look like year or 2 or 3 down the road, you got to have that, like, you're in your business right now, you're doubling down, doing the extra activities inside the business, but on the business, things are just never going to be the same.
And I think the good news about some of this is people are accepting it.
Yeah.
People accept this. Most realtors would not want to meet with me on a Zoom before. We want to see each other face to face, but now people are accepting of this digital technology. And I think that's going to be beneficial for all of you all as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I put out was basically a commercial that I'm doing virtual listing consultations, and that is so less invasive to a client than actually setting up an appointment for me to come to the house. You can kind of get to know me, show me around the house. I can give you a good valuation, and then you can decide if you want me to come in my house. And that saves me a lot of time, because if we're not a good fit virtually, we're not going to be a good fit in person. So it's been great, really, to cut down, like, when you show a virtual showing to a client and they love the house and they want to go see it in person, I am saying about 60% of the time that person's putting an offer on the house. So it's like causing a lot less disruption in my sellers' lives, especially those with babies, to not have to clean up the house and stuff. They can just show the virtual showing. And then if somebody wants to see it, they know they're a serious buyer. So I think that is going to carry on with what's going on.
Competition's going to step up. I hear people say, I can't wait for this to get back to normal. And whatever that looks like, it doesn't look like January and February, obviously, right, Pete?
Yeah.
But since we've all had to learn new things, and here's this group of top 500 realtors in our market, I'm going to say they're butt kickers, and they're up in their game, and they're going to come out of this difficult time with a much better skill set, better tools that they know how to use, and it's going to be harder to beat them, whatever that new normal is. Everybody is going to be stepping up their level of competition who wants to stay in this game. I would say that's the only thing that I'm confident in predicting coming out of this.
And to your point, Lewis, I think, it's kind of circling off the main question, but if you're not sure, if you have a little bit of uneasiness about what's coming in front of us the next 30, 60, 90, 120 days, look for a gap. Look for a gap in the market. Look for a need that needs to be filled, and be okay that, well, I've never done REO. I've never done foreclosure. I've never done investment sales. I've never worked with iBuyers. It doesn't matter what you've never done. The question is there a gap in the market, and can you fill it? And if you can, if you can fill that long enough to get through the shift where you can start building up some of that more common business or maybe things that you're more used to, do that. Don't be afraid of that. Be open-minded to shifting and trying to fill those gaps in your business. You can't stay this way because the market isn't the same today that it was 60 days ago.
Yep. Next one is, what CRM are you guys using?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys all have great CRMs, I know it. And I've got a great CRM, and they're all different. And I was talking to one of my counterparts that runs a big office in Dallas. And she said the funniest thing to me, and I'm never going to forget it, because we've all been shopping for the perfect CRM for probably our entire career. A CRM is like a lady's purse. It's the one you like and like to use.
Mm-hmm. Wisdom.
Yep.
Yep. It's the one you're going to use. We can all spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month and not use stuff because we've all been there, right? Or you can just use the one that you use. All the brokerages offer a CRM. It's free. Use it.
Here's what I would say in this moment. Get whatever you decide is the best option for you with the least amount of overhead. Protect your revenue. Focus on profit. So whatever. And there's wisdom in what Lewis is saying. There's just wisdom all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
These next two questions kind of coincide with each other. How do you respond to clients that are fearful about the future looks, and how are you relaying that to them? So clients that are fearful about the market and what's coming up, how do you, I guess, put them at ease or walk them through this?
I think that's a tough one because we're fighting with the media a little bit, and we don't know where their eyeballs are going and what they're reading and what they're seeing. But what we can tell them is what's going on in our industry.
Yeah, I think this is where being a leader is all the difference in the world. Our clients are looking for leadership in a real estate transaction, and we can't predict what's going to happen a week from now. Fetty or Franny or the government, or we just can't. But what we can do is be the economist of choice right now, understand exactly what the market is doing now, and then be sincerely interested in what their preferred outcome is, and then give them the best options to help them move through that in the current moment, because we do know that.
It's funny you mentioned that there, Pete. I usually, obviously, this, I teach stats class. And the thing is, stats, I'll usually go through stats once a month. However, what I've been doing daily, though, is I've been tracking through MLS. Everybody has the same capability that I do, so there's no secret sauce here. You just go in on your snapshot, and how many listings are coming on per day, how many contingent properties, how many are being sold per day. And when you start tracking that in 1 week, you're going to know what's happening, and you're going to have a lot better pulse on the market.
Yeah.
So therefore, you automatically know what's going to be put in the print for next month. And right now, our activity is through the roof for here in Tucson. I mean, it's great. And that's the thing is, that will not get into print for another 30 days. That won't get into the public eyes for another 45 days. So therefore, from now until then, it's the unknown to them. And it's our job to get out there and tell them what's going on in our industry. If we don't, then we're not doing our job.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a seller that wants to sell right now, if you've got buyers looking at houses, my God, that's a motivated buyer. Oh. Holy cow. You don't have to sift through 50 looky-loos. I mean, if somebody's come out and looking at a house, tackle. That's what you're looking for, right? And sales prices are fantastic. So if you're a seller, it's a great time to have a conversation about selling your house. We don't know what that looks like 6 months down the road, but we do know what it looks like right now.
Mm-hmm. The last question is this. Doug Ducey just extended the travel ban and stay at home until May 15th. So extended it essentially 2 more weeks from Friday. Is there anything that you'll change in your business knowing that it's going to be extended?
Nope. I'll be honest. Here's the thing. We've got a Kansas City team. Their shelter at home is totally different than ours. Mm-hmm. Their laws are totally different to where they can't even call clients. Okay? We don't have that. Could we have that? Sure. Then we'll adapt and we'll change to that there too. But ultimately, no, nothing's going to change. However, I'm going to be watching trends. So we're in front of the ball instead of behind it. You know, I don't want to be chasing after it.
I think a fire is lit under me like it's never been before. And I mean, I came out of the gate hot, but I'm coming towards this coronavirus even hotter, and it's not going to stop.
Virtual high five right there.
Right. Way to go.
Yeah. I agree with you guys. You know, it's just anytime there's disruption, there's opportunity. And you got to be looking for the opportunity and be willing to do what others aren't willing to do, you know? So the cool thing is like for us, what we've noticed with our ISA and our salespeople is our pickup rates are through the roof.
Absolutely.
People are home, you know, so there's social media, people are on the internet. All right, great. That's awesome. You know, they're talking to their kids 8 hours a day. They are dying for adult interaction, even if it's
Right.
right.
Me too.
I'll call you, Candy, when we get done. And by the way, we're going to send your kids to Chase's house, and he free up your work hours
Play date.
for a month.
Oh, yeah.
Real funny, Pete. All right. Well, I know that I speak for everybody else that was on here. There's 1,000 other things that y'all could be doing today. And time is not something you have plenty of margins with right now. So we appreciate you sharing your wisdom with everybody. And speaking on behalf of you guys, anybody that wants more information, reach out to Candy, Pete, Lewis, Aaron, Frank. They are the type of people that would love to help out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you all
So
again.
good to see you all again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great seeing you guys.
Can't wait for us to really in person see each other. I'm hugging everybody, all of
Yeah.
you.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Y'all have a great day.
All right. See you all later.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Good night.